Gilligan's Island. I mean, at my time, as in growing up as a child, it was new and everything else. Of course, I know you can still see reruns, I'm sure, somewhere, possibly today. But it was a show that was based, if you don't know, the story was simple. 7 people went out on a 3-hour cruise or tour, as the song says in the beginning of it, when a violent storm comes up and they become shipwrecked on a supposed deserted island. I say supposed because through the course of the show, there were a number of people that ended up on that island. Astronauts, people, just writers, just all kinds of different people ended up there. And yet, they could not find the way to get off. The other people came and left, but those 7 people were stuck there. As the years went by and as I've gotten older and with more knowledge, I've never quite grasped the idea. The professor could manage to make everything and do it. They could have a transistor radio that could pick up a signal from wherever it was, and yet sometimes even today in my car I can't find anything. But yet he could make it out of coconuts, and they had washing machines, all this, and yet they couldn't patch the hole in the boat. Somebody should have told the professor at some point, look, professor, it's great you've invented all this stuff, but we have a boat down here, just has a hole in it. Could you fix that and we could get off of this island? But no, they were stuck there, and yet they had hoped so many times that they were so close to getting off the island, and yet each time the opportunity was missed. Sometimes, don't you feel like that in life? I mean, you've thought of all the ways possible to make your life bearable, better, and everything else. And it's within your grasp, within your reach to somewhere just have what you think is the ultimate prize, the ultimate reward. And yet, you still feel trapped. And you never quite get to where you want to be. That's why I want to share with you a message this morning that I had the working title of The Escape from Gilligan's Island, focusing on this incredible journey of life that we live. And the journey that we go through. We go through different journeys of life. We have the journey of our life just as individuals and our life as a whole, but we also have the journey of our life as a career. We have the journey of our life in our church and everything else. There are different paths and different journeys, but in all of it, we go through it, and it's how we face it is sometimes determines the results and as we're looking at things. Because it is a journey. And the text I'm going to use is a text that I used at each of the church I pastored when I was pastoring churches and doing that. Every time I went into each new church, and including Lancer Baptist Church when I pastored there and other churches as well, the very first sermon I ever preached was from Exodus 16, and that's where we're going to be turning here this morning. Exodus 16, I'm going to read some different verses from that passage. And if you have your Bibles, I invite you to be turning there to follow along with me. But Exodus 16, I would preach this passage because it was the beginning of the journey with Moses and the Israelites as they were going into the wilderness. And I always would tell the churches as a pastor to them, said, we are beginning a journey now. Don't know how long it'll last, don't know where we may actually lead, but please understand it is through the guidance not of me but of God that will take us where we want to be. I mean, quite often, even as you're turning there now, ministers such as myself and others will speak of the journey that we have of life, and also will talk about the journey that we have with the Lord. Let me say this. It is who we use and who we allow to guide us in our journey that determines our destination. It is who we use to guide us in the journey that helps us determine the things and the blessings of life, or the things that we're looking for in life that will ultimately reward us, or as we will see, making the journey worthwhile. A journey with the Lord can be exciting and adventurous, but it can also be one that takes some time. It can be difficult. And unless we know the true nature and manner of a journey with God, we will get discouraged. And so this morning, in this passage, I'm going to share with you some of the true nature of God as He takes us on a journey and as we are following Him. I am going to assume at the very beginning of this, and you need to as well, that you are on a journey with God. Now, I know maybe not everybody in here is on that journey yet. but listen where God may take you and where He may lead you as you travel through life. Exodus 16, beginning with verse 1, is where we'll begin there. In Exodus 16, chapter 16, verse 1, it says, "And they journeyed from Elim, and all the congregation of the children of Israel came to the wilderness of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai, on the 17th day of the second month, after they departed from the land of Egypt. Then the whole congregation of the children of Israel complained against Moses and Aaron in the wilderness. And the children of Israel said to them, Oh, that we had died by the hand of the Lord in the land of Egypt, when we sat by the pots of meat, and when we ate bread to the full. For you have brought us out into this wilderness to kill this whole assembly with hunger. Then the Lord said to Moses, Behold, I will rain bread from heaven for you, and the people shall go out and gather a certain quota every day, that I may test them, whether they will walk in my law or not. And it shall be on the 6th day that they shall prepare what they bring in, and shall be twice as much as they gather daily. Then Moses and Aaron said to all the children of Israel, At evening you shall know that the Lord has brought you out of the land of Egypt. And in the morning you shall see the glory of the Lord, for He hears your complaints against the Lord. But what are we that you complain against us? Also Moses said, This shall be seen when the Lord gives you meat to eat in the evening, and in the morning bread to the full, for the Lord hears your complaints which you shall make against Him. And what are we? And what are we? Your complaints are not against us, but against the Lord. Then Moses spoke to Aaron, Say to the congregation of the children of Israel, Come near before the Lord, for He has heard your complaints. Now it came to pass, as Aaron spoke to the whole congregation of the children of Israel, that they looked toward the wilderness, and behold, the glory of the Lord appeared in the cloud. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, I have heard the complaints, and the children of Israel speak to them, saying, At twilight you shall eat meat, and in the morning you shall be filled with bread, and you shall know that I am the Lord your God. Now let's skip down to verses 32 through 35 of that passage. And there it says this. Then Moses said, This is the thing which the Lord has commanded. Fill an omer with it, to be kept for your generations, that they may see the bread with which I fed you in the wilderness, when I brought you out of the land of Egypt. And Moses said to Aaron, Take a pot, and put an omer of manna in it, and lay it up before the Lord, to be kept for your generations. As the Lord commanded Moses, so Aaron laid it up before the testimony to be kept. And the children of Israel ate manna 40 years, until they came to an inhabited land. They ate manna until they came to the border of the land of Canaan. 40 years. I can just imagine in that 40 years that there had to be somebody in that crowd that finally spoke up and said, Moses, you know, we've been out here quite a long time. Are you sure you got those directions right? Or maybe they said, Moses, do you have any idea where we are going? Moses, have you ever heard of a map? Or maybe, as my wife has said, would you just pull over and get some directions sometime? And quit driving.